Today's Ghana News TV is 2 years old, and we continue to give you the very best. Within our 2-year period, we have introduced our newspaper, the Evening Tribune. Tribune, when it comes, tribulation, you should expect it. It comes with all the hardcore news items, and we report it as it is, as you see it, and as you hear it. So,
the country where I come from, the truth is irony, just like animal farm. Justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence, Islamic leaders silence, kings and queens silence, traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of composite call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of composite call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now, see what I see so. Now your friend on a nine come at them. Only papi obeka na sembia. So I want one over to it. Everybody was afraid. And when Tina to my cottage again nine. Once my boy dumping one and I see. But who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Akuku drofo nyina dalima. Enti who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to kroche mansa to me biaka kobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo when you know yet. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. I fene for be man mo pia for efo ne cross on my mo. Hanya safwe mo ayini. Akuku trofo nyina dalima. Enti who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi kachi se wodi o ma o pipi numa wodi o ma never shine na frafonsa. But who go tell the truth? TUC silence, even journalists silence. Oh, then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless no they mean senseless, poverty no they mean useless. One day them go resist.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you all and sundry, depending on where you are watching us from, whether you are watching us from the Americas, from Africa, or from the Far East. And depending on which time of the day you are watching us, we warmly welcome you to another exciting edition of MyView show here live on Today Ghana News TV. And you're also listening to us live on Sakina Information Center in Tatali, also live on Hein FM 93.7 FM in Achunhimai in the Eastern region, and you're also listening to us live on the King's Radio in Accra, and also live on all your favorite social media networks. And once again, welcome you to yet another exciting edition of the best developmental talk show this and every evening, where we serve you the best dinner in town, dinner in the form of developmental matters as they relate to of your favorite country, Ghana, to West Africa, and to Africa at large. And once again, today we are tackling yet some of the most important matters in society that relate to human development, things that involve the overall development of the entire society, so that each and everyone's full potential shall be achieved, ultimately resulting in the overall development of society and humanity. And this evening, we are going to tackle a topic that is so important, yet so neglected by many. A topic that requires the full attention of the entirety of society and yet get the attention of none. And this has to do with the topic that relates to persons living with disability. As you may know, for any society to develop, the society ought to be able to develop the full potential of its population and to help this all levels of the population to contribute their quota to the development of the society. And that is why, as a country, Ghana, as a sub-region, West Africa, and as a continent, Africa, and the world in general, we ought to pay special attention to discussions of people that need our specific help. And that is why we are having this discussion today. And for us to be able to have this discussion, we are joined by no mean a person than someone who is the former president of the Ghana Society of the Physically Challenged. He is also the founder and CEO of the Ghana Center of Employment of Persons with Disabilities. And he is also the chairman and co-founder of the Ghana Disability Forum. We are talking about none other but the person of Mr. Alexander Kojo Tete. Mr. Tete, welcome to my view show here live on Today Ghana News TV.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to share to the world how far we have come as persons with disabilities, and also as an organization of persons with disabilities in Ghana. So I'm excited to join you this evening.
Indeed, we are excited to have you join us today and to help us give us more insight and more understanding into the world that should be known by many, but yet known by few. And that is why we're excited today that you are joining us. So before we proceed to talk about anything, let's find out about you. Let's begin on the lighter things. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing very well by the grace of God. Yeah, so life is moving on as we pursue the agenda of inclusive society for persons with disabilities. It's actually not easy, but I mean, when it gets tough, the tough only gets going. So yeah, so I'm doing very well.
Indeed, I'm relieved that you did not say that you are managing.
that has been the language for all Ghanaians, managing.
Because when you talk to Ghanaians and they say they are managing, you really don't know what they mean by managing.
You really don't know the level of management they are getting to. It's interesting,
yes.
you know. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, wonderful. So let's proceed to serve our viewers and our audience with, as I usually say, the best dinner in town every Monday evening. So we most often than not, lots of people, including me, find ourselves using this this terminology, persons living with disability, but most often than not, it's okay to me that we fully do not understand what we mean when we use that particular terminology, persons living with disability. But being privileged to have you join us today, can you do us the favor or the honors of explaining to us what we mean when we say persons living with disability?
Thank you very much. So many people make the mistake and refer to persons with disabilities as persons living with disability. I think it's a wrong terminology. It is a wrong terminology. I don't know why. Mostly when the wrong things come up, that is where a lot of people make reference to, and it's so sad because I don't know where all of a sudden this terminology came. Persons living with disability. The right terminology is persons with disabilities, because if you say persons living with disabilities, then you are re-emphasizing the impairment of the person. Okay, you are re-emphasizing the impairment of the person, which is the medical model. And the medical model refers to disabled people as sick people. Sick people who are supposed to be in the hospitals. I mean, sick people are confined in the hospitals and other healing places. But when we say persons with disabilities, we are re-emphasizing the fact that society makes a person disabled, and so it's a developmental statement which re-emphasize that a person is not disabled until the environment makes him disabled. So if we improve on the environment, if we make the environment conducive, that person impairment or his disability or his challenge will never be seen, or it will be minimal. So it is wrong to say a person living with disability. We don't live without disability. We are persons with disabilities, but we don't live without disabilities.
9:17 p.m.
All right,
So that's the explanation.
That's really really enlightening and an eye opener to lots of people, like I say, including myself, because this is a a misunderstanding or mistake that has been with us for a while. So now, which people do we are we referring to when we talk about when we talk about this group of people? What category of people are we talking about?
Okay, when we say persons with disabilities, we are talking of all the body of all persons with disabilities, and we are looking at and day in day out the number keep increasing. But we look at persons with physical disability, we look at persons with hearing impairment, we look at persons who are deaf, so that is the hearing impairment. So the deaf, the blind, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, the little people, the persons with albinism, bench survivors, mental health persons, and the list goes on and on. So this is a totality of disability organizations, and this definition cut across nation to nation. You know, it is defined by nations, because in the UK, a person with diabetes is a person with disability. In Ghana, unless the diabetes affects the part of your body, either you are amputated, okay, before you are considered as a person with disability. But the mere fact that you have a diabetes don't classify you as a disabled person in Ghana. But in the UK, I don't know about the US, but in the UK, I'm aware that anybody with a long-term health condition is a person with disability. And then that person benefits from whatever resources or whatever intervention that are made available to persons with disabilities.
Yes.
So that is it.
That's interesting. Since we we intend to look at this particular topic as a developmental matter and a developmental topic, can you give us a rough idea as to maybe like in the situation of Ghana? Do you know the percentage or the population of disabled people?
Okay, so Ghana Statistical Service, Ghana Statistical Service gives 7% of the total population. That's the recent housing census that was done in I think 2002. Gives a percentage 7%. You know, earlier on 2012, the percentage was 3%, and so we challenged that figure, but they came out to say that these are the 3% are those with severe disability, and so we were asking what yardstick do they use to measure severe disability. Okay, but we've moved on, and for the current census, 2002, it gives a housing census gave data to be 7% of the total population being person with some form of disability. But we know that those figures are underestimated because many people were not counted. A lot of people, I mean, many people within the associations, and the association command, I mean, about 40 to 50% of the total population of disabled people, and most of them getting to about 80% of them cannot remember whether the enumerators did touch base with them. So which we still challenging that figure. But of course, the UN came out with an estimate which gives every country 10 to 15% of the population being persons with disabilities.
That's interesting. I mean, even if that figure was less than a percentage, but that would have been significant. But to have a figure that's around 7%, that is a serious figure that needs a lot of attention and a lot of thinking. But as you keep talking about it, the subject matter, the understanding that I get is that lots of people in society still do not appreciate what they are dealing with, or have a lot of confusion when they are dealing with this particular topic, as in the fact that they do not fully appreciate the topic under discussion. I mean, like you said, even the statistical service in its previous lesson said these are severe. As to what they term as severe and what is not severe, only they know this, which presupposes that persons with disability have some challenges in society. Can you take us through some of the challenges that persons with disability face in society?
Yes, persons with disabilities in our society, and especially in Ghana, face numerous challenges. In fact, disabled people in Ghana, and I want to talk about Ghana because that is where we find ourselves, and that is where I want to throw the spotlight on. In Ghana, persons with disabilities face. I want to begin with attitudinal challenge with the mindset of people, how to accept disabled people. And so generally that is the attitude of disabled people. The mindset is that
Hello, Mr. Tete.
disabled people are not to be given challenges, are not to be given to aspire their dreams. And so they need to be relegated to the background and given some charity. Yeah. So that is it. And that affects their employability as well. Okay. And the other thing is about the cultural challenges, because there are cultural settings also undermines persons with disabilities. So if you are a person with disability and you are a royal within the royal, you are not allowed to assume the stool or the skin because you have a kind of a defect or you have a kind of impairment, which in the royalty, you are not supposed to have any impairment or any defect in your body. And so you are not allowed because you are a person with disability. Quite apart from that, even there are some chiefs who don't associate with disabled people. They think that it's a cultural taboo for disabled people to associate with disabled people. So these are some of the challenges. I mean, major among them is also challenges has to do with the built environment compared to other jurisdictions that like the US, UK, Canada, Denmark. I mean, the needs of disabled people have been factored into the architecture designs. And but I mean, down here we're still struggling with some public buildings to be accessible to disabled people. You can go to, or where you cannot go to. So you are limited. The other challenge also has to do with transport. I mean, our transport is not accessible. As I speak now, we don't have any bus that is fully accessible to persons with disabilities. And when I talk about fully accessible, where all category of disabled people would be able to access it. And so you have VIP bus that plow our major cities from Accra to Kumasi, and it's not accessible. If you are in a wheelchair, you need to be carried at the back of somebody like you are a baby into the bus, and before you travel on that bus, all the buses, whether VIP or other STC, the state transport, the other buses that private buses that are not, all of them, none of them is accessible to persons with disabilities. And even the internal flights from Accra to Kumasi, Accra to Tamale, Accra to Sunyani, none of them is also accessible. Disabled people are denied.
Hello, Mr. Tete. Yeah, it appears we do have some technical challenges with Mr. Tete. But just before we lost him briefly, Mr. Tete was recounting some of the challenges that persons with disability have, and most of the discussions. Well, we are rejoined by Mr. Tete. I was trying to give a summary of some of the issues you have highlighted. The stigma,
About the Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was talking about the internal aircraft, which is not accessible to persons with disabilities. So transport in generally is a big challenge when it comes to disabled people moving across the country. Both land and air transport are not accessible to persons with disabilities. I mean, employment is an issue, education is an issue, and most educational institutions are not accessible. Um, I mean, I have personal challenge where when I was going to Accra Polytechnic, I have to climb stairs up and down because my lecture halls keep changing from one room to the other. And addition to the climbing the stairs up and down, I need to also carry my decks because the decks are not enough. So everybody, immediately you come to the campus, you are able to capture a dex that becomes yours, and you move it to any lecture hall that you are supposed to go. And you can imagine how do I carry myself and carry my decks and my books. It was very challenging. I mean, I didn't know been the support, the kind support of some of my colleagues, I wouldn't be able to go through. And I know that there are some disabled people who couldn't get the kind of support I had, and for that matter, couldn't continue their education. So these are challenges. Right from the primary school, you face challenge. Most of our primary schools, the class one is on the ground floor, the class two is on the second floor. Okay, class three down, class four down, and it becomes a huge challenge. So it contributes to the low level of literacy among persons with disabilities. So as for the challenges, they are enormous, and if we want to talk about them, we will not end here.
Yes, talking about challenges, there's this interesting fact that I came across recently, which said that households that include persons with disability experience poverty at more than 10% the rate of other households. So these are some of the challenges that you talked about. But moving forward, I think that Ghana as a country probably have averted its mind to some of these challenges that persons with disability or disabled persons have. And probably that is what informed the passing of the Persons with Disability Act, Act 751 in the year 2006 to ameliorate the plight of disabled persons. How effective has this act been since it's been passed in Parliament to try and like I said, ameliorate some of the challenges that disabled persons have? Hello, Mr. Tete. Yeah, I think we have lost Mr. Tete briefly again. But before we lost him, I wanted to know, because he's mentioned quite a number of challenges, ranging from employment, education, health, employment, stigma, social stigma, and what have you. But we also know that Ghana passed the Persons with Disability Act in the year 2006. So I want to put it to Mr. Tete, how effective this act have been in, helping alleviate some of the challenges that disabled people have since its passage into law.
Yes, so the act was passed in 2006, and yes, the act came with excitement. We're all happy because I mean it took It took us over 12 years struggle. I mean, demonstrations upon demonstrations, press conferences, and then finally 2006, it was passed. In fact, Ghana passed the Disability Act before the UN Convention on Persons with Disabilities was passed. So we are ahead of the world. Yes, but implementation is very challenging. Okay, very challenging.
I was going to ask you that, because in Ghana we are good at
Yeah.
passing laws.
Yes. Yeah, implementation is very challenging. When
Hello, Mr. Tete. Are you still with us? Yeah, it appears we have a slight technical hitch with Mr. Tete again. But what we are trying to move into is to try to look at how effective the act that was passed, Act 715, has been in trying to help tackle some of the challenges that persons with disability have. And I think we wanted to delve into the implementation of the law.
yes,
How has the implementation gone?
yeah, implementation has not been the best as we expected, because it becomes difficult to identify who is to monitor.
Yes, and as Mr. Tete was trying to point out, that implementation has been a challenge, and I'm not surprised to hear that, because knowing Ghana, we have a lot of good laws passed on our books, but when it comes to implementation, that becomes a challenge. And as somebody once said, that a law that is not implemented is just an advice. And it appears when it comes to implementation of laws, that has been the case. Because I have read through the act, the Persons with Disability Act 715, 2006. And I see that almost all the challenges that Mr. Tete was referring to are in this act. They have been captured, and they have they are actually punitive actions against some of the things that Mr. Tete mentioned as challenges. So one would have thought that if these have been captured in the law, these would not have been challenges anymore. But as Mr. Tete mentioned, these are still challenges. So we would want to find out why these challenges still exist, even though there are laws that are passed to help make them not to be challenges anymore. So, Mr. Tete, take it away.
So quick one. The challenges has to be with the implementation, and the implementation has to be with enforcement. If you make a law and you don't enforce it,
yes, as Mr. Tete said, if you make a law and you don't enforce it, and like I said shortly before he joined us, he joined us, if you make a law and you don't enforce it, it's no longer a law, but it's an advice, because there are no repercussions attached to not obeying those laws. Because I was going to put this to Mr. Tete. Just last week, when we were celebrating Teachers' Day, there was a report in Ghana where people who were visually impaired had cause to complain that they are not given the resources needed to be able to teach in the classrooms. And this has to do with employment. And this was one of the points that Mr. Tete mentioned, challenges with employment. And these are people who are employed by the state, by government. And so if the same government that makes the law is unable to enforce the law, you can imagine what is going to happen to people who are not government or people who are in the private sector, who are not bound by the laws of the who not necessarily because they are not bound, but people who the very government is supposed to compel to obey the laws. So these are the matters at hand, and these are the discussions that we would like to take on with Mr. Tete when he eventually rejoins us. But before he does that, we would like to take a look at some of the comments that are coming from some of our listeners and viewers. So, Mr. Producer, if the comments are ready, you can bring them up and let us share with our viewers and listeners. Yes. So, Kontinana says, "Good evening, Albert. Good evening, Kontinana. Please kindly ask him how is the closure. Okay, I think you mean the closure of the toll booths affecting persons with disability who were employed previously to work at the booths. And you are watching us from Poland. Interesting question, and that is something that I wanted to put to Mr. Tete. And that ties back to what I was talking about, the situation of teachers. If the very government that make the law cannot enforce them, you can imagine what is happening elsewhere. Victoria Teni Lautema, I think I got that right. And you are saying, Chairman, you do all. Please keep it up. I assume that Mr. Tete is your chairman. Thank you very much, Victoria. Millicent Aquada. Millicent Aquada says, great work done. Thank you very much, Millicent, for doing the viewing or the listening, as the case may be. And we are happy that you've been able to join us. Desire Aliabaka. Desire says, good evening and thanks for this great education. Yes, of course, we are being educated massively by Mr. Tete, and he's putting some facts right. Desire comes back again. He says, great enlightenment on persons with disability. Indeed, like I said, we are all being educated and enlightened. Said Adi, there is even a town in Kwau where persons with albinism are allowed to visit or live there. Really? In Ghana? Where albinos are not allowed to live in. Shocking. No wonder, like I said at the beginning of this topic, at the beginning of the discussion, topic that needs much attention but but gets little. Amansambuafu says, employment and even marriage is a big challenge to persons with disability in Ghana, especially women with disability, watching from Suhum, Ghana. Amansambuafu, yes, and these are the things that we're talking about. And it's surprising that these are topics that we should be talking about in the year 2023. Desire comes back again. He says, greetings to our great family who are always with us on our programs. You are the success of our network. We are grateful. With you, we are growing bigger and bigger. Keep the faith with us. Thank you very much, Desire, and thank you to all our viewers and our listeners for always doing the viewing and doing the watching all the time. Fans TV, he says he's watching us from Sunyani. The disability movement is very strong and active in Bronx area. Then this is what we expect it to be all over the country and not only in some parts of the country. This is a very important matter that needs the attention of everybody. Robert Kimpe says you are watching us from Paris, France. Thank you very much, Robert, for doing the viewing and as always. And thank you for joining us. Bertrand Dachie says, most of us think that disability is only those born with it, and hence we plan our society without considering the people living with disability. But wait till you are physically disabled. Thank you very much for that comment, and that is a very important comment. People think that people are born with it, but anybody can be disabled at any particular point in time. So this is why we all need to take this topic and this matter very, very seriously. Patience Daku says, good evening. You are watching us from Hamburg in Germany. Thank you very much, Patience, for doing the watching. Desire is back again. He wants to know, has government been paying the disability benefits? That's another topic for discussion. As we may know, that the government of Ghana is supposed to pay some amount of money to the various district assemblies that are devoted to disabled persons. But as to this, whether this amount has been going out or not, is another topic for discussion. And as to how much it is, that is also another topic for discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Tete, for rejoining us. So I think before we lost you, we were trying to take a look at some of the challenges. We moved past the challenges. We're looking at the disability, the Persons with Disability Act, and we're looking at the implementation of this act. And we're trying to tell us that the implementation has been a bit of a challenge. Can you tell us some of the challenges that this act have been saddled with? Hello, Mr. Tete, are you still with us? Okay, so it appears we have lost Mr. Tete again. But as we were discussing, and some of our viewers and listeners were making us know that there's some government's contribution to the persons with disabled persons, as to whether this amount has been going out. This is another topic that needs discussion. And as to another person brought up this issue about the toll booths, where the toll booths that were manned by disabled persons were deconstructed, and these people were sent home. And as to how this has been handled, Mr. Tete is in a better place to help us understand these things. And these are matters of implementation.
So, yes. All right. So it's about the monitoring of the implementation. Unfortunately, we didn't have the monitoring mechanism to be able to monitor the implementation of the Disability Act. And quite apart from that, the Disability Act was also to come with a legislative instrument, which was also not passed, because the instrument will have given us a clear picture of how the implementation will go. The instrument will have given us a broader understanding of the intent of the but currently we rather pushing for an amended act, because there were a lot of things that we saw that, because we had passed our Disability Act before the UN Convention came into being, we saw that there were a lot of gaps within the Disability Act. Even though the few things that are in the Act are not passed, we saw that still, as far as the paper document is concerned, and as far as the Act is concerned, there were a lot of loopholes, there were a lot of weakness, and there were a lot of omissions. If you compare it to the UN Convention. So currently we are in the process of having an amended act, which we would now have a better act that is up to speed with the UN Convention. So implementation has been a big challenge, and it's as a result of monitoring mechanism. The National Council on Persons with Disabilities, which is the administrative structure of the act, which will see to the implementation of the act, is also under resource and don't have the resources, the personnel to be able to do its work. It's within the act that even the
Yeah, so it appears that just as Mr. Tete recounted, that the implementation of the act has been very challenging. It appears his network, internet connectivity, is also very challenging this evening. But I think that the brief of what he was trying to tell us is that the act was passed, but the necessary backing was not given to it. So in effect, it needs to be revisited and revised one way or the other. And yes, so Mr. Tete, so we have dealt with the act, but we also see that you are also the chairman of a forum, the Ghana Disability Forum. What is this forum?
Okay, so the Disability Forum is a civil society movement of persons with disabilities and non-disabled people who have interests of disabled people at heart, who have the interest of seeing disabled people strive, who want to support the inclusive movement of persons with disabilities in our societies. So this is a forum where we meet. It's a WhatsApp forum, WhatsApp platform where we meet, we discuss a lot of things, we share information on disability, and then we discuss a lot of things on disability matters. And when it becomes necessary, we take an action. And so this is a civil movement, actually.
Okay, and
Yeah,
and so when was it established?
it was established in 2018. No, 2016. Sorry, 2016. Yeah, and the Ghana Disability Forum was established. But apart from that, there's also I'm also the president, the executive president of the Center for Employment of Persons with Disabilities, which also was established in 2008. After I left the Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled, after I resigned in 2008, I decided to do something in the area of employment to support graduates who go to the university and are looking for job, who are persons with disabilities. And I want to be the gap, bridge them between the employers and persons with disabilities. So that center was established to take care of that. And out of that, we have been able to place over 300 people with disabilities in all kinds of employment. We have also delved into the informal sector and trained persons in entrepreneurship. So we've trained quite a number of people who are doing their own businesses and don't have to struggle and look for job. So all these people we have trained in the informal sector, we have put them together into a kind of a trade association called the Ghana Chamber for Entrepreneurs with Disabilities. Ghana Chamber for Entrepreneurs with Disabilities. So and this is a membership organization. So if you are a person with disability and you are working for yourself, we want you to join us so that we together we can advocate and fight for an accessible market, an accessible financing, an accessible training in terms of how to manage your business, how to get skills and ideas on to grow your business. So this is what we've been doing, and we are able to place most of our people.
Yeah, and since the establishment of this, this organization, the Ghana Center of Employment of Persons with Disability, and since you started doing this work, what have been the common challenges that you have faced in your pursuit to getting people, disabled persons, employment?
Okay, so with the Center for Employment of Persons with Disability, which was initially focused on the formal employment, one of the big challenge was attitude. Attitude. It was two: attitude of the employers on the mindset of disabled people, because sometimes before the person goes to an interview, the person is received because of his CV and his qualification, but the mere sight of him in the interview puts the employer off, to say that, oh, I didn't know that this is how you look, or I didn't know that this is your nature. I'm sorry, but this work, I don't think that you can do it. If I give you this work, I would disturb you, because is quite challenging job. But so this is what disabled people hear every now and then. Each time they apply for a job and they are invited for interview, and after the interview, even though in content they are able to deliver, the employers don't employ them. So a lot of disabled people now decide not to put disability in their CV. They decide not to disclose disability in their CVs, which is quite opposite. When you go to UK, US, disabled people are proud to put in their CVs that I am a person with disability, because there are certain benefits that they are able to get. But in Ghana, people want to hide it until they appear to you because they know that if they don't hide it, they will not even be invited for interview. So the common challenge is the attitude. The second one is the built environment. The built environment is not accessible. Okay, the offices are not accessible, so it becomes very, very challenging, and that is why we as an organization, we are striving within the entrepreneurship, because with the event of social media, persons with disabilities are trained on how to do social media marketing, and so they are able to have their things and market it on social media and be able to sell. One of our ladies, Rose sells body cream, and she's able to use TikTok to market her product both locally and internationally. And she's just at home, and but doing serious business and earning income. These are the things that we think that we need support to be able to do it more, because it becomes very accessible. You don't have to travel from one place to another, having to face with attitude, having to face with inaccessible transport, having to face with a lot of barriers within the system. But with social media and with resources and the skills, you are able to do business at the comfort of your home.
All right. Right. So let's take a few questions from some of our viewers, and then we will return to wrap up. So let's take one of our viewers, Amasan Buafu. Amasan Buafu says, please ask him what is the current state of the chalk factory set as, I think, the chalk factory that was established, that was supposed to be,
Yes. I'm quite happy Amazambuafu knows about this chalk factory. Yes. The chalk factory is my brainchild. Actually, when I was the national administrator of ensuring, I was poised in ensuring that disabled people are empowered economically. So we established, with the support of the Netherlands Embassy and the World Bank, we established the chalk factory. The chalk factory has gone from one state to another. We have been able to, initially, it was difficult for the Ghana Education Service to procure the chalk, but we've been able to overcome that, and we've got the Ghana Education Service to procure our chalk and to assure us that any quantity that we produce, they are ready to buy. But we face managerial challenges, and it's really affected us. So after I moved out of GSPD, and I left it with the organization, and they were to manage it. But along the line, they decided to transfer it into one of their centers in Jachi, and so that hasn't started yet. But it was in their plan to move it there so that they can have a lot of space, because the rehabilitation center is also not our place. We only rented an office as an organization, so we needed more space, because as at that time too, we were drying it with the sun, so we need space to be able to spread the chalk wide to be able to dry it. So we needed a large space. So we thought the leadership of the organization thought that it was wise to send it to Jachi Pramso, in the Ashanti region, to begin it there. They haven't started it yet, but I think that it's still in the plan to do that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. One of our viewers, in fact, our boss, Desire, wants to know whether the government has been paying the disability benefits.
Okay, so it's okay. We'll call it the District Assembly Common Fund. Okay, the District Assembly Common Fund. The District Assembly Common Fund was established in 2005. It's a district base. Every district and every quarter, the central government transfers this money to every district, and so the disabled people within that district are able to access it. But these monies have delayed. Have delayed so much. I think this year I can say that we have received only that of the first quarter, and we are in the fourth. We are entering into the fourth quarter, right? I think that we've just ended October, November, December. Okay, we just began the fourth quarter, but we have received just the first quarter. So only God knows when the second quarter and the third quarter and the fourth quarter actually will come. So anyway, but so that those are some of the challenges. I mean, if things for disabled people would delay this way, then you are delaying justice and delaying support for disabled people. So
we pray that no matter how hard the system is, at least that what is due the disabled will be given to them. Yes. Continana. I think this will be our final question from our viewers. Then we run up. He says, I should ask you how the closure of the toll booths is affecting persons with disability who were employed previously to work in those
yes. In fact, the closure of the toll booths is a serious issue on my heart that I don't think that government have dealt it well with us. Government has taken us for granted as the disability movement, because in fact the toll booth was a campaign promise by the current government, and so when they came, they started the toll booth, and the toll booth was running, but they decided that 50% of the toll booth workers will be persons with disabilities, and so they initiated the process of getting disabled people employed onto the toll booth. and disabled people wholeheartedly accepted it and were working. We're working even though under harsh conditions, because I mean, some of them, their salary was between like 500 to 700 a month, and sometimes their salary delay for 3 months before it comes. And you know the condition, there are no protective protective wears, there are no proper conditions, and you know how you sit in the tow booth and you inhale all the car fumes, and sometimes drivers maltreat you, drivers abuse you, but they go through and they are managing and they are coping with those conditions. Then all of a sudden one day, no announcement, no communication, the Minister for Transport decided that all the toll booths must be closed by 12 midnight. The toll booth must be closed. Okay, must stop, and all disabled people must go home. And the promise was that as they go home, they will be reinstated, and before they are reinstatement, they will be paid allowance. But as at the time that the toll booth was closed, their salary was in arrears for 3 months. And so and up to now, I hear some of their arrears were paid to them, but the allowances that was promised them has not come. And the toll booths, there's no plan to take them back, and they have never been reinstated. Nobody cares about them, and it's affected them seriously. Some of them even died. Got frustrated and just died out of it. Most of them now are languishing in poverty, cannot find food on the table, cannot take care of their children, their families, and it's a huge problem within the workers of the toll booth. So it's an issue government must look at and address it, because the toll booth workers, and for that matter for persons with disabilities who are working within the toll booths, are also citizens of the of this country, and they need to be treated fairly.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tete, as I indicated when the program was about to start, that for every society to develop, it needs all the entirety of its population to be engaged in the developmental process. What that means is that each and every individual needs to be empowered to live his or her full potential. By so doing, you leverage the abilities of those people to contribute to society. So what would you say that society in general and all other stakeholders can do to help unleash the full potential of disabled people to benefit themselves first and to benefit the larger society in general?
Yeah, thank you. I think disabled people don't need anything special. All they need is a recognition of their abilities. Recognition of their abilities. Because look, as we speak, our country is not accessible. Our schools are not accessible. Our universities are not accessible. Our employment sites are not accessible. Transport is not accessible. I don't know what is accessible in this country. But disabled people have taken their lives into their hands and want to do something. They need an opportunity. Disabled people need an opportunity. So that is why we think that to ensure that disabled people also contribute to this economy, of course, we have a lot to contribute. And you are right in saying that any country that does not harness the full potential of all its citizenry, that country will not progress. And that is exactly what is happening to Ghana. If Ghana fails to use the talents and the skills and the intellect of disabled people to also support this economy, it will be difficult for this economy to strive. I mean, check other countries that are developing. Their disabled people are contributing immensely, whether in the area of intelligence, whether in the area of education, in the area of all aspects of life, agric and others. And I can tell you there are serious disabled people in this country who are into the agric sector, who are contributing to the food basket of our economy. There are disabled people who are into the banking sector. There are disabled people who are even into the transport sector, all sector in the educational sector. There are disabled people there. We need opportunities. We need opportunities. Our training institutions must make themselves available, must make themselves accessible. Our educational institutions must consciously and deliberately and intentionally create space to allow persons with disabilities to participate. When it comes to leadership and our political arena, disabled people should be allowed to participate. I'm happy the current government has appointed one of our own, Honorable Joshua Makubu, as the OT regional minister, and we are quite happy about that. We need more of that, and whatever.
It appears we have lost Mr. Tetede briefly again. And he says, as he said, we need more of, placement of people, of disabled persons in positions of influence. And but to the best of my knowledge.
Decision making, we need persons with disabilities to participate in our political arena. And I think that this country will be a better place if we allow disabled people to participate and to contribute to our society. Currently, there's a TVET service where people are given skills, practical skills. Most of the TVET institutions are not accessible, and that is what we also call on the TVET service and the Minister for Education to ensure that our TVET institutions are made accessible to persons with disabilities.
Wonderful. Well, just before, I've seen a rather funny comment. No, if this probably will take us a bit of time. One of our viewers said, final question.
Persons with albinism. Oh no, the persons with albinism die. They don't disappear. It's a superstitious belief that persons with albinism don't die. It's never true, because they don't regard them. When they die, they don't even care. They don't even care. Okay, unlike the non-disabled people, when they die, they do posters and all the fanfare around funerals. We don't regard disabled people. We don't regard them, so we don't even take note of them. So the person with albinism die. So please, they are not gods. So why wouldn't they die? They don't disappear, please. It's untrue.
The country where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian cancer, silence. Islamic leaders, silence. Kings and queens, silence. Traditional leaders, silence. Oh, who go say the truth? We are the workers of confused call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of confused call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, you need it to see what I see so. Now your friend on an iron come at them. Only papi obeka na sembia. So I want obetu etu. Everybody was afraid. And until I to my cottage again, once my boy dumping one another. But who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Akukudro for nyina dalima. And who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to grow your man set to me be a cacobrafo. If I nyina ye. If when you know yet, now so could down so be dear back or why no keke. I feel for the man more piafo, no cross on my mo. Hanya safwe, more any. I could draw for you, darling, ma. And who go say the truth? Abaya the boat, Yedi be bebo nyande bi kachi sa would your mouth pipinuma would your mind never shine my frafonsa but who go tell the truth? TUC silence even journalists silence oh then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless no they mean senseless, poverty no they mean useless. One day them go resist. The country where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth?